Welcome and thanks for joining. We'll begin in 2 minutes. Welcome, my name is Taya Brown. I am the Administrative Coordinator at the Temple Small Business Development Center. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of no-cost webinars and training programs like the one you're attending today. You are joining us for networking your business in a digital world. We are recording today's session, and a copy of that recording in today's PowerPoint will be sent to all attendees within a few days in a follow-up email. All attendees have been muted. We encourage you to post any questions in the Q&A chat box. Now I'll turn over the floor to Kurt and Wesleyan.
Hey, Taya Brown. So, hey, happy Thursday. Thank you so much for having us. So my name's Kurt Anderson. Let's give a huge shout out, big warm welcome to our friends at the Small Business Development Center at Temple University. Boy, they do amazing work helping entrepreneurs in their corner of the world. If you are in the Philadelphia metro area, you absolutely want to connect with the Temple University Small Business Development Center. Their services are completely free, confidential. They have experts, entrepreneurial experts on their team, on their staff to help you guys out. So guys, I want to give a warm welcome. I see Donald, Jacqueline, Regina. I think you were here yesterday. Scott, Trish, Sherry Ann. So thank you for joining us. We have a smaller crowd, so maybe more people will be pouring in. So I want to introduce my dear friend, my partner in crime. We have Wesleyan Greer. Wesleyan, happy Thursday. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Kurt?
Hey, awesome. I'm still flying high from our fun workshop yesterday. Boy, that was an absolute blast. I'm not sure if we're going to, I know Regina was here yesterday. Not sure. So Regina, you have to put up with my bad jokes again. You know, hopefully I have some new ones for you today. But what we want to do, we'd love to have this be super active. We see Teresa just joined. Scott, welcome. Happy Thursday. We'd love to have this super interactive. We want to have this as fruitful, beneficial for you as possible. We know how busy you are, how precious your time is. And so we want to maximize our time together. So, hey, let's dig right in. So Wesleyan, for those of you that haven't crossed paths with you in the past, tell us a little bit about what's going on with Wesleyan.
I am a recovering chemist, so I love starting there because I like to show people that you can transition from one side of the business to another. And I tell everyone when I got into sales, I finally figured out what I wanted to be when I grew up because I love everything about sales and selling, the whole process of everything involved in sales. And what I do is I work with companies specifically in science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing to help them build better sales teams and develop their sales leaders.
Yes. And that's what, you had me at hello. That's how you and I connected. You caught my eye. You have a little spin, a little twist on STEM, where instead of mathematics, you have manufacturing. That's my jam. That's my stick. Regina says hi. Trish says hi. So guys, drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. We'd love, or your website, or love to know where you're coming from. I dropped Wesleyan, Taya's, and my LinkedIn profile. We would absolutely be honored and love to connect with you guys. We have some more folks. Didi was here yesterday, I believe. Manif is here. And so again, guys, if I haven't called you out, anybody else that's joined, Deanna, Adam. Thank you guys for joining us today. Happy Thursday. And again, what our goal is let's take a deep dive into networking. Let's make this super interactive. Sherry Ann's dropped her website. Awesome. Great job. Donald, he dropped his website. I think Donald, you've been here before. That website looks familiar. So Kurt Anderson here. I'm an e-commerce evangelist for manufacturers. Number one job on the planet. I'm a girl dad. Have this little book called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. And that's what we're here for. Networking. We want to stop being that best kept secret. And I do all sorts of fun webinars, workshops. That's what we're here for today. And Jacqueline, Evolve Creative Community. Love it.com. Creative Studio in Fishtown. Nice. So Manif and hi, Adam. And all right, awesome. Wesley, let's just no monkeying around, man. We're rolling up our sleeves. We mean business. Why join a community?
So when you're in a community, you're around people that have the same goals as you, same purpose as you. And so community can be so many different things. It can be, I'm in a community of, creatives, right? Jacqueline said, I do creative. You can be in a community, Adam does Ladybug Vegan Deli. So you can be in a community of people who are not just have vegan. They could also be dog owners. Maybe you would have a dog. Maybe you're in a community full of people from your community, as in where you live, where you work, where you play. But the whole point is you help each other. You learn from each other. You might be really good at social media and maybe they're really good at writing content. So you guys help each other. And through that, there's a growth mechanism that happens. So community is not to sell to. We are building a community of referral partners, a community of partners that help us grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And so, you and I are a, success story together through our community on LinkedIn. We just did it. We just finished a LinkedIn workshop at Purdue University. Then we jumped in a plane and we flew over here to Temple University. And so here we are today. And so again, feel free if you just joined us. I think Mary Ellen, you just popped in. So Richard's here. God, we love Richard. Richard, God bless you, my friend. Happy Thursday to you. And so guys, when you come to this community, iron sharpens iron. It's aligning yourself with folks that are same type of integrity, same level of motivation, goals, so on and so forth. Wesley and I partner extremely well. Sales is not really my jam. When I back last year, I was like, boy, I need a sales guru. Her and I connected, aligned, and we've never stopped since. Boy, Wesley, and I hope this honeymoon doesn't end for a long time. So I know when you guys, so Richard, some of you guys pop into our workshop. So I don't want to go over the same shtick all the time, but I think for this networking, it's important for us to talk. Yesterday, we were talking, we did our workshop here yesterday, and we were talking about that ideal buyer, that soulmate, that persona. We talk about it quite a bit, Wesley. Why, for anybody that's new to our jam, why is that buyer persona, that soulmate, understanding who that is, why is that so important?
So the key with understanding who you're speaking to, and even if you're in a business that is a business to business, so a business selling to another business, there is a person that you're talking to. So business to business or business to consumer, it is the same. And knowing who that person is, just like you see on this picture, putting a whole magnifying glass up and understanding, am I speaking to millennials? Am I speaking to Gen Xers? Am I speaking to someone who has an engineering degree? And so when you really map out who that buyer persona is, it helps direct everything else you do. It helps how you network. It helps how you market. It helps how you sell. So tapping into that is so very important.
Absolutely. So guys, if you want to, love to, Jacqueline missed yesterday. So if we're new to you guys, we'd absolutely love for you to drop in. Who is your ideal buyer? And Wesley, I'll share with this. I'm going to talk about a networking group that I actually joined. So this is some new information. If you've heard us before, I joined a networking group, and it's an amazing, wonderful group of folks. This woman wrote a book, and it's a book for parents on how to educate and talk to their children about finances. Boy, what a great niche. I had, as soon as we connected, I'm like, I bought her book immediately. I read it. It was fantastic on how to talk to your children about books. And she was like, I'm really and I'm always preaching about niching down, right? We're going to get into that for a second. But I'm like, think about this. She's in Toronto. And she's like, who should I target? Well, hey, maybe it's suburban moms. Well, I don't mean to stereotype. You're in Toronto. Maybe they play hockey, right? Everybody plays hockey in Canada. So maybe it's hockey moms in suburban, areas that eat tuna fish on Tuesdays. Like how do you niche that down further so you really understand who that buyer is? When we were here last time when we did our networking event, we did this workshop back in February. It was right after the Super Bowl. You gave an awesome, awesome example on how that generational divide on the halftime show, the Super Bowl. Can you just share what went on in your house at the Super Bowl?
Yes, so we're watching that halftime show comes up and I see Snoop Dogg popping up and I see all these people that I remember listening to when I was in high school and college. And my son was like, Mommy, who are all these old people on the TV? I was like, what? Old people? I'm dancing, I'm enjoying this music. And then I get on and I'm like, come on. And so it's really so impactful that when they decided, what are we going to do in the halftime show? They weren't thinking about my kids. They weren't thinking even about my parents who are like, they were the ones like, turn that music off. Why are you listening to that? That's not good music, right? They were marketing to a specific demographic who remembers enjoying this type of music. And they don't care if anyone else doesn't like it because they know the demographic they were targeting enjoyed it. And after the halftime show, the people were talking about it so much. And there was another commercial. I can't even remember the name. I think it was Coinbase. And they just had a QR code popping all around the screen.
Yep.
They spent, I don't know how many millions of dollars to have a QR code. And if you were like, what is this box popping around the screen? Yep. Not the right demographic. Yep. So understanding who you are speaking to and how you can connect to them is important.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. So when you look at the generation, what's fascinating, so here Wesleyan's boys are like, hey, who are these dudes? Wesleyan's out of her seat dancing. For me, I'm like, I'm probably these guys, I'm their age, or I might even be, I think Snoop might be a little older than me. I'm probably the same age as Dre. Eminem, I think is like maybe a couple years younger than me. So for my generation, so what was interesting, if I sometimes throw out this slide and I pull up this slide for like the kickoff a program of like, hey, who are you? Drop your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. Now, this band is from the 60s. These guys were around way before you were even born. So this is not, now if you're a white dude in your 50s, you're going to know, hey, this is a band. The name is, you know what it is? The Who. So I always love saying, hey, who is this? Well, I kind of answered it in the question, right? The Who. But the Who came out in the 60s, British Invasion. So again, reason for my little diatribe there is like understanding who that ideal client is. If you're targeting Wesleyan's boys, well, maybe Snoop Dogg wasn't the best way to target, but if you're targeting Wesleyan's generation, absolutely, she's out of her seat dancing. If I'm throwing out these guys, well, if you're 50 and older, maybe you know who the Who is, but boy, when you're Wesleyan, if you're under 40, you probably don't know who the Who is. So reason my diatribe, get a clear, concise understanding of who that ideal buyer is. A couple comments here. Donald Job, we provide scientific analysis and regulatory consulting to product manufacturers so they can place their products into the marketplace. Man, well done, Donald. I love that. Jacqueline says, my daughter attended a free financial literacy class for 6 weeks. She learned a lot. It was very helpful. See, that's pretty, like that book helped me talk with my daughter about finances. So, all right, Wesleyan, again, for folks like Regina, you might have heard this yesterday, folks that have come through, but again, we want to focus on this. Then we're going to dive into networking. What's going on here, Wesleyan? This is one of your favorite sayings right here.
And, really kind of backing up on Donald's comment, I really love what you said. This is what we do. This is who we serve. Mm-hmm. But you said product manufacturers. So at that point, you're saying just anybody who manufactures a product. Mm-hmm. And if you go into the marketplace and you say, we speak to product manufacturers, you're talking to so many millions of companies. So you have to get laser focused, because if you do everything for everyone, you're going to be nothing to no one. You're going to be washed out, right? And think about it. And I'm a little bit biased, I know. Think about it. Apple products versus Windows products, right? You can put a Windows operating system in any kind of computer, any kind of laptop, but you can only get the Mac operating system in an Apple. So that's the difference between everything to everyone and nothing to no one, right? the more laser focused you are, the more you speak to your specific soulmate, the more that they come to you. And don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm alienating everyone else. They don't know who I am. They're going to say, you don't speak to me. Once you become a go-to expert, other people are going to say, do you do that? Right. Can you help me? You're really good with this industry. Can it translate?
I absolutely love that. So, so Donald, this is fantastic. So maybe, yesterday you did a great job. You were talking about the problem impact statement. Do I have that correct? Problem impact statement. So dude, I've been working with you for ages, and like that was just, you dropped the mic on me yesterday. So I absolutely that just resonated with me so much, that problem impact statement. So, and I've even discovered I need to niche down even further. I like being the e-commerce manufacturing guy. Well, I came across, we work with the MEPs, the Manufacturing Extension Partnerships, had this great client in Seattle. And I'm like, but something just seemed a little bit off. Well, sure enough, they wanted to get on Etsy. They were going direct to consumer. They wanted to get Facebook and Instagram marketing. Totally out of my strike zone. That's not my jam. Manufacturers that are down and dirty, greasy, they're B2B custom manufacturers. That's my jam. So I need to stay narrow focus. We brought in another subject matter expert, not my thing. I'm not learning to, I'm not eager to do Facebook marketing. So again, we want to focus on who that ideal buyer is. Those riches are absolutely in the niches. So guys, Donald, you did a great job. You dropped that note in there. Adam, we serve vegans who might be lactose intolerant. Drop in, we did yesterday was serve before selling. Boy, Wesleyan did a phenomenal job with our program. Guys, drop in the chat box, like, who are you serving? Who do you serve? Who's the hero of your story? That's what we were talking about yesterday. Drop that in the chat box.
And Adam, it's like you were peeking at our next slide. So you already put who you serve. Awesome. But I'm going to challenge you. Are you serving vegans? Or people who are lactose intolerant, or people who are laying off dairy because of animal rights? Because those are 3 different buyer personas, and it is okay to have multiple people that you serve. But at a given time, you need to know, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to talk about this and I'm speaking to this person. Why? Because what you write about for a vegan is very different than somebody lactose intolerant. Because a vegan is not really that doesn't even resonate with them. So if you start talking about lactose intolerance, that doesn't matter. And the person who's lactose intolerant, they may not care about animal rights. It may just be like, I just want to have some ice cream and not have my stomach messed up, right? So I encourage you to dig a little deeper. Come on, guys. Who do you serve? All right, Donald. We serve manufacturers, risk managers, so their products don't hurt people or the environment, and they don't get fired for incompetence. Man, I love that.
That is great.
The only piece I want you to add, because you said who in the company, the risk managers, and why. I want to know, what is the size of that manufacturer? This manufacturing is huge. So you can either have a size component, so 1 to 10 million, or less than 50 employees, or 50 to 100 employees, or maybe only in the state of Pennsylvania, or only in the state of New York. Get specific so make it smaller. Or you can say, we only serve food manufacturers, right? So really get that niching down, and you're going to see how much easier, how much more you're going to be known as the person in that industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Donald, I know I remember Donald from our previous program. So Donald, thank you for joining us today. We deeply appreciate it. Again, drop your LinkedIn profile if you want to, your website. Love to connect with everybody here. Or again, another, what do we have? 15 people on a call. Great opportunity for us to connect with each other. Wesleyan, you're not introverted at all, are you? Just maybe not whatsoever, right? So, man, everybody that talks about Wesleyan, all they talk about is her passion, her enthusiasm, her energy, and you are a sales guru. Talk about, why is that enthusiasm so critical? Again, we're going to slide into our networking conversation. Why is that enthusiasm so important? I'm being Captain Obvious, but why? Just elaborate on that, please.
So when you think about, first of all, sales gets a bad rap.
Mhm.
right? People are like, I don't like salespeople. They just cold call and they bother me. And every time I go buy a car, they're following me around the lot, or they're in the store, like all those things. That is not sales, guys. That is annoying, period, right? It's not sales. Sales is all about serving. We talked about this deeply yesterday. And as a salesperson, you are transferring your enthusiasm, your love, your passion for your product. I mean, I can be anywhere. If I'm in the line at the grocery store and somebody starts talking about something, I'm like, oh my goodness, have you ever thought about this? And I just have a random conversation. And they're like, wow, you really enjoy this, right? So that's what sales is. It is about showing someone I am enthusiastic about what I'm doing. I can help you overcome the challenge that you currently are going through. And I want you to realize that if someone has a problem that you have identified and you do not help them solve that problem, you are committing sales malpractice. Sales malpractice. So think about that. There are people out there struggling with their current solution, with their current products, and they could have you. So start thinking about how you can help more people, because that's all sales is. Yes, God, be the answer to the problem. That's what we want to do.
Let's hear it for Scott. That was a
Good
great
job,
answer.
Scott.
And so Donald elaborated. Thank you, Donald. That's, dude, you're doing phenomenal. We've got Jacqueline. Evolve Creative Community is an elegant meeting place for modern business professionals, entrepreneurs, and families to collaborate and connect with their team and family members through meetings, private events, workshops, seminars, classes. We're going to talk about webinars today and content creation. Mary Ellen is a B2B LED lighting. We're in LED lighting projects. Serve the facility manager or person that feels the pain of a poorly lit, ineffectively lit property. That is awesome. Absolutely fantastic.
Let me drill here a little bit, Kurt. You know, this is what I love to do.
Go for it.
So Donald, I love that. You say where you're the only company that does what you do. And we talked about this. I don't know if this was yesterday or last week. We've been with Temple a lot, but your competition is doing nothing. Your competition is them sticking with the status quo. Mm-hmm. So think about that. Who within that 100,000 to multi-million dollars has the biggest propensity to change from what they're currently doing? Think about that. Mm-hmm. And Jacqueline, I love this. An elegant meeting place for modern business professionals and entrepreneurs. I want you to tell me which one. Is it business professionals? Is it entrepreneurs? Or is it families? I know you want to do all of them, and that's okay. Once you get really good at one, you can branch out, but figure out which one. And if you decide it's business professionals, I need you to tell me it's millennials, it's Gen Xers, it's baby boomers, whatever that is. And Marlene, I think, or is it Mary Ellen? Sorry, Mary Ellen. And so just what are those facilities that you're serving, that you're working with? Which types of, are they 1,000 square foot facilities? Are they apartment buildings? Like literally think about who you are speaking to. All right, Kurt, ready to rock?
I absolutely love that. And we talked about that yesterday. And I, that hit me like a ton of bricks. Think about that. Sometimes our greatest competition is our customer doing nothing, not taking on the new LED lighting, not taking on your services, Donald, not, joining the creative community, in my case, or Wesleyan's case, not enhancing e-commerce. So a lot of times our biggest risk are our customers doing nothing in that inaction. So that, that is a big competitor that we're competing against. So, and that's why we love hanging out with folks at the SBDC, because we know that you guys are deeply committed to moving the needle. And of course, when you join, as far as like networking events, this is absolutely critical, coming in with a high level of integrity, that consistency, reliability, sincerity, and just building that trust. Wesleyan, let's talk about this, and love to get the chat box moving here. What networking groups do you find the most impactful? What do you have any advice for the folks and guys out there? Please drop in the chat box. What are some of the most successful networking groups that you belong to?
So before I go into that, you sparked something that I want to say, because a lot of people might be like, why are they talking about soulmates? I thought we were talking about networking. So the reason we entered and we talked about soulmates is because when you go to a networking event, whether it's online or offline, you need to understand, am I talking to a soulmate or somebody who may provide a service to my soulmate? And if you're too broad, you'll be trying to network with everybody. You'll be talking to everybody and like having one-on-ones and not knowing they're leading nowhere. You're like, I thought you were a good referral partner, but you're not. And that's why it's so important to be laser focused on who that soulmate is. So as you're networking, you're targeting the right thing. So networking groups that are most impactful for me are really the ones that are usually industry specific. So when I go to a networking group, I prefer not to go to the ones that I won't name them, but that you show up every week and they're like, okay, what leads did you bring today? Okay, what leads did you bring today? Those tend to not be as impactful. I want to go to a networking group. If I am, so Donald, you're focused in the manufacturing industry. So let's say you're like in plastics. And so I want to go to networking groups where other plastics professionals are going to be. Jacqueline, if you decide, hey, I am focused on millennial entrepreneurs, maybe, where do they show up? What kind of groups are they in? And you want to go where your soulmate shows up or where the people who attract your soulmate goes.
Exactly. I absolutely love that. So say like Mary Ellen does a great job with LED lighting. So Mary Ellen, let's just say that your ideal buyer, your soulmate is maybe Maintenance Murray. And Maintenance Murray, I'm not sure what LED lighting you do, but if you do like LED, exit signs or parking lights or whatever, parking lot lights or whatever the LED, where is Maintenance Murray hanging out? So Donald, I love what you've got. You went real granular here, industrial hygiene to toxology, scientific association. So again, I love what you said, Wesley, because I've not been great at this. How many times you do those virtual, when COVID hit, you do a lot of virtual cup of coffees and you get into it and you're like, man, if I would have done a little due diligence on this LinkedIn profile, or come into like, how do I help that person? How do they help, your business? So, so think about that a little bit. As you guys, I want to share real quick. We won't spend a lot of time here. I got out of my comfort zone. I joined a networking group. I don't know if any of you have heard this woman. Her name is Dory Clark. She is a Wall Street best-selling author. She has Standout, Reinventing You, Entrepreneurial You. She has another book called The Long Game. And she had a networking group and it was totally out of my comfort zone. And, I'm a girl dad and there's a lot of women in this group, a lot of professional women. And I'm striving to be the best father I can be. I'm trying to be a good business person. And I'm like, you know what? I can join a group where there's a bunch of other dudes. I joined a group where it's really predominantly women. And I'm like, this is, my goal is like, how can I strive to be a better dad, a better business person? And I've just loved this group. She's actually speaking. Dory's a renowned, she's a, big keynote speaker. She's doing a workshop here at Temple in July. I strongly encourage everybody to come to her workshop in July. It is going to be a powerhouse. I'm telling you. So it's July 27th. Please mark your calendar. But what she's done is I do a LinkedIn Live. We're going to talk about LinkedIn Live for a little bit. But Wesleyan, what she's opened up the door to all these amazing people that I would have never had as speakers. So like this Alicia, Rosemary, Marie, Dr. Natalie Nixon. These are all high level, top quality speakers because I joined this group that have now come into my LinkedIn Live. I know you're super active with a number of different groups. Just share a little bit about, like you did a LinkedIn Live yesterday. Just talk about some of the groups that you've been involved in, some of the success that you've found.
Yeah. So, really tapping into a specific niche helps me connect with people who are, again, calling on the same types of customers that I call on. So when you think about that, it's like, hey, Kurt, you're doing e-commerce for manufacturing. I'm guessing that a lot of your customers may have sales teams. So I'm not going to come up to you and say, hi, Kurt, my name is Wesleyan. I want to do business with your clients. That's not what the conversation is. And a lot of times people get like, well, how do I even have that conversation? You just get to know each other. And once you understand each other, then you're at a place where you're like, okay, so, and the person refers you business naturally. That is the goal. Okay, I know who my soulmate is. I know the types of people that my soulmate utilizes as vendors, as partners. So I want to develop relationships with them. And then as we develop our relationship, they will start referring business to me. And again, it doesn't always feel good, but you can say, hey, after you've known somebody for a little while, is there anybody in your network that, and I'm sorry, let me not say anyone. Is there a person? I like to be specific because again, specificity helps people. Is there one person in your network that you could introduce me to that may be interested in what I do? Just simple, right? They might say no. That's okay. Maybe they don't know anybody. But this on here, this is Gail. Gail was actually introduced to me by way of Kurt 2 times removed, right? Like, I don't even know how I got introduced to Gail, but because of the community that Kurt has built, and because we do joint webinars and joint speaking engagements, Gail said, hey, Wesleyan, I want to host you on my platform. And so again, I'm on her platform. I'm speaking to her audience. And so that helps me and it helps her. It helps her show I know good people. And it helps me because I'm building my connections.
Right.
And especially since Gail is in Canada. There's no way that in a non-digital world, I would have been able to reach Gail. If I only go to local networking events, how would I have ever reached Gail?
Yeah, that's a great point. And she's super active with a couple of different trade associations, like the Molding Manufacturers of Canada, very prominent manufacturers that she's connected to. So again, what we want to think about is aligning yourself, partnering with those folks that can help you move the needle. Jacqueline says, Evolve hosts networking events every month. There's one this Saturday, 6 to 9, focused on starting a business and structuring a business, different topics every month. So that's fantastic. So again, think about those types of groups where your folks hang out, iron sharpens iron, and how can we, move the needle for your business, for your goals. How about, is a book an opportunity to build a network, Wesleyan? What's your opinion here?
Yeah, when you think about writing a book, we're like, I don't know if I could write a whole book, or what would I write about? But a lot of times, if you just take a moment and say, okay, maybe I can't write a whole book, but maybe I can write a chapter in a book. Maybe I want to collaborate with somebody in writing a book. And so this was actually a project. This was somebody that I met on LinkedIn. She reached out to me. We had a whole collaborative discussion. I created training for her. And then she said, hey, can you contribute to my book? All about how women are working in B2B sales. And so this has opened up my network because I have 30 women who are in the same space that I am, and we can talk about things and we can collaborate because we have the same challenges. So don't think that you have to write a whole book. You can write a chapter in a book. Right. You can get a group of people, a group of entrepreneurs or a group of manufacturers, or you can even ask your customers, hint, hint. That's another great way to make them feel awesome. And you get at least 10 people together and you guys can collaborate and write a book together.
That's brilliant. And that's what I'm assuming this Heidi here that she put together. So look what Heidi did by spearheading, getting, attracting 30 other subject matter experts, heels to deals. That's absolutely phenomenal. And so, in the chat box, guys, if you drop a note, like, what's your story? Is there a story inside of you that's dying to come out? Is that an opportunity, whether you did it on video? So when I say, that book, you're like, oh my goodness, I couldn't write a book. But, what's your story as far as there's something that could help you build your network? Wesleyan did a great job here. Man, I wrote this little book called Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I'm telling you, one of the best things I've ever done. And it's really just completely exploded my network. So again, if you guys, get active in the chat box there, please, if you want to. Wesleyan, let's talk about like where you're understanding that ideal buyer soulmate. Your boys are not going to hang out on Facebook, right? Who's hanging out on Facebook?
Yeah, the old people that were on TV that they're like, who are these old people? That's what they say.
Exactly. So, my daughter said that. She's like, Dad, when I get to your age, I don't think there's going to be a Facebook. I'm like, there's not going to be a Facebook. She's like, nobody my age is on Facebook. By the time we get to your age, it's going to be gone. So, think about if you're targeting millennials, if you're targeting 30 somethings, if you're targeting 50 and up, whoever that ideal buyer is, what social media platform. Now you do a great job. You're helping all sorts of manufacturers with their social media strategies. How do you help coach people on building that community and networking on social?
So really the strategy with social media is pick your platform and do it well.
Mhm.
So double down on one platform. I'm not saying if you're using a social media scheduler to stop posting to the other ones,
Mhm.
because you should. Why not? It's easy enough just to hit post. However, we have to be on that platform for at least 30 minutes after we post and engage with people. So when we think about all of the different social media platforms out there, if you're doing business with other businesses, doesn't matter if they're small businesses or entrepreneurs, LinkedIn is an absolute must.
Mhm.
Instagram is really for what I like to call the younger millennials. So Instagram, and also if you have anything that's visually appealing, right? Like, I mean, I guess I can post sales stuff on Instagram all day, but I don't think anybody will like it. But I think somebody I saw, they have vegan food.
Mhm. Mhm.
People want to see that. Really doesn't matter what the age or the demographic.
Mhm.
Facebook is going to be for people who are typically about 35 on up, right? And so anyone in that demographic, and that's a business to consumer platform. Twitter is short form, really for businesses. When you go into the TikTok and the Snapchat, again, those are for like really younger demographics. But don't put yourself in a box. If you say, well, Wesleyan, I've been getting a lot of good love on Instagram and my target demographic is this age and my product isn't that visually appealing. That's okay. It's not a one and done. I want you to really think about which platform do you have the most push on, the most love on right now, and can you double down on that one?
Absolutely. So again, guys, if you feel free, drop in the chat. We'd love to hear, for your business or what you've, any success, or if you want to share it with your colleagues here, other entrepreneurs, where are you finding success? Are you finding it on Facebook? Are your peeps hanging out more? Like Richard is crushing it on LinkedIn. He's a LinkedIn influencer. Donald, sounds like your crowd is definitely LinkedIn. Dee Dee, Deanna, feel free to share, what social media platform. And obviously in this, boy, just think if we didn't have social media through COVID, let that sink in for a second. If we didn't have social media during COVID, what would we have done? So Adam's like Instagram, Scott saying most success is on LinkedIn. So again, as you understand that ideal buyer, your soulmate, that's just so critical, in YouTube videos, obviously huge. We do a lot of training. Wesley and I do training on like website strategies, SEO, and boy, YouTube is absolutely critical. Jacqueline says Facebook and Instagram. Wesley, let's talk about like some of those little like goofs that we wish we had a time machine. We could go back in time. Do you have any networking tips, any strategies that we want to avoid, or like any of those, what were we thinking moments on networking?
I have so many. So
yeah, I have way too many. That's why I'm passing it to you.
So one thing I like to call is the pitch slap, right? Hey, you accepted my connection request and now I'm sending you 3 paragraphs of stuff about why I'm so great, because I don't want to hear about you. Like I don't sell me insurance or how I can make X number of dollars in X number of months. Like even thinking about that, it's like a slap in the face. How do you know how much money I'm making right now? Right? So that's the pitch slap. That is one of the most annoying. Another thing that is annoying is when you go to what you say, let's get to know each other after you've connected online or offline, and people are just selling their products. You're like, I thought we were getting to know each other. Oh, so that was a whole lie. So you were nice until we got in person. Yeah. You made it seem like it was all about me, but now you're just pitching me. Yep. That's another one. And really, when you go to a networking event, you have to have a goal. Sometimes we go to networking events and we say, I'm here to look for potential clients. Sometimes you go to networking events and you say, I'm here to look for potential referral partners, those people who can send me clients. be clear on the goal before the networking event. Because if I go to Kurt and I tell Kurt, hey, this is how I can help you in your business, then I go to somebody else and I say, this is how I work with partners, the message is confused because people talk. Don't forget that people talk. So those are, I guess, some of the top tips I have to not do at networking events, online and offline.
I absolutely love that. And so Regina, if I didn't mention, she dropped LinkedIn. Donald, I like this line. We're an old team, but a new business entity, still trying to figure out the best, and it's just test, right? Test, find out where you're most comfortable. Wesley and I are, our second home, of course, is LinkedIn. That's where we live. That's where you're going to find us. We would love to connect with you. I dropped our LinkedIn chat profiles in the chat box, and Taya Brown here from the SBDC. So we'd love to connect with you guys. But, one of those fail moments is, Wesley and I, we kid around, we talk about like that wee syndrome. If you guys come to any of our webinars, workshops, and if that term is new to you, so when you land on a company's website and all they're talking about themselves, we do this, we do that. From a personal perspective or that networking event, it's if we're talking about I. And R, and I kid around with hey, unless you're a pirate, we're not saying RR matey or I captain, right? We want to focus on the other person. I'll tell you one thing that's been a total transformation for me. I'm 53. I wish I knew this 20 some years ago. It took me a long time. When I come into a networking call, I am dedicated to, you need, and that, like Gail, you need to connect with Wesley. You need to connect with this person. And my goal is when I'm off that call, if it's almost like this little personal challenge. If I don't hear the word, gee, I feel guilty, who can I connect you with? If I don't hear that at the end of the call, I feel like I almost failed that phone call. So my intention is I want to know due diligence about that person. I'm looking at their profile. I'm immediately thinking, how can I help them? Who are 2 to 3 people that would bring value to them? And so that's my goal. And so Wesley, when you're great at networking and getting on these different calls, what are some of the things that you're providing for folks when you're getting on a new call?
So I'm just really listening to people get on calls and they're saying, they'll talk about, hey, what's going well? And I'm like, what are some of the challenges that you're facing, right? And a lot of times the challenges that they're facing may have nothing to do with me. And like you said, Kurt, my goal is to connect them to people who can help them, right? So I want to connect you to the person who will help you figure out the next step, how to do it, how to resolve it. And at the end of the day, the person that I'm talking to, they're going to be like, wow, Wesley, thank you so much. You helped me accomplish something that was in my sphere, something that was on the top of my brain.
I absolutely love that. So guys, I'd love for you to do now is I want you to think about your superpower. So we talked about vegan, we've talked about some different products and services that each of you guys provide, the LED lights. What I'd love for you to do is could you fill in this? So instead of saying I do this or we do that, could you say, do you need help with blank? Do you need help with e-commerce? Are you a manufacturer? Do you need help with e-commerce for manufacturers? Do you need help with LinkedIn training for your sales team? Do you need help with hitting your sales quota? You need to contact Wesley. What I would love for you to type is, or think about it, challenge, invite ourselves as we're all accountability partners here today. Do you need help with who's your soulmate? And how could you finish that statement right there? So now it kind of just flips the script a little bit. Instead of I help manufacturers with e-commerce. So Scott says, do you need help with staffing your labor projects? Wesley, any thoughts there?
I like that. Do you need help with staffing your labor projects? I would just, and so one thing I always make sure is never leave anything to chance. You don't think that the person understands what a labor project is. So define that for me. What is a labor project? And then Donald says, we scientifically reclassify our clients' products from hazardous to non-hazardous. So flip that, right? Do you need help with reclassifying your products from hazardous to non-hazardous? Or how do you reclassify your products, right? So because if you ask a process question, Exactly. Do your products qualify? Good,
Perfect.
good,
Nice
good,
job,
Donald.
Donald.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Nice.
So a process question is how do you, right? And so people are going to answer that and they're going to tell you all the things that they're doing currently and how it's going, right? And so think about the how questions, or do you need questions?
Right. Donald, I absolutely love that. So do your products qualify for hazard declassification, and then, profitability, safety, efficiency, quality, premium. I know Wesleyan taught me, like, if you're talking chemicals, high purity, like, think about those See, I do listen, Wesleyan.
Yeah, I see.
I love, Donald. So I love what you have there. And so Scott, love where you guys. So again, if you're jotting it down yourself, if you want to put it in the chat box, finish that statement. So Adam, do you need help quitting animal-based food products? Love it. Absolutely love it. Scott, does your product need laborers to help complete your project? And now look how we capitalize your project. We're worried about them. Great job, guys. Man, you made my day with that. So thank you for participating.
Good.
So Donald, this might resonate with you. And I was just telling Wesleyan. So Wesleyan and I, this is what we do for a living. We love doing these webinars, workshops. We do trainings. It's our passion. It's our energy. We feed off of, when we see our clients, our attendees move the needle. We had some great breakthroughs this week, didn't we, Wesleyan? So
absolutely.
So let's talk about webinars. So Donald, if I'm if I'm looking at hazard declassification, boy, that's, it's not like I'm planting flowers out in my front yard or buying a pair of shoes, kind of a mindless task. Like, that's a pretty big deal that you're helping me with. Like, this is a prominent, so your soulmate is, pretty smart cookie, right? Mm-hmm. So think about, I've had 4 people just reach out to me this week. Kurt, we're thinking about, for our marketing initiative, we're thinking about webinars. I've had 4 different people in 4 different aspects in my network reach out, and I'm like, Wesleyan, we should do a webinar on how to do webinars, because I want to listen to my soulmates. That's what they're asking for. Wesleyan, talk a little bit about some of the amazing relationships, connections, the network you've built through our webinar relationships with folks. Whoop, are you mute?
Sorry, hit mute on my mic. So when you think about a webinar, this is my favorite thing. I like to say, educate them and they will come. And so the goal of a webinar is not to sell your products, okay? So a lot of people are pushing their products. And I actually got feedback, Kurt. I didn't tell you about this at the Alaska MEP, where somebody was like, usually when I attend a webinar, people are promoting their book or talking about themselves for 30 minutes, and then they give you 10 minutes of meat and then open the rest of the time up for people to ask questions. Mm-hmm. That's not what you want to do. Your goal is to educate people. You want them to leave with something that they can implement immediately. And when you think about that, you can do something for an hour and touch anywhere from, I think our webinars at Temple are anywhere from 15 to 50 people, right? Mm-hmm. So literally think about that. And then you can do webinars with people. So that's like getting on somebody else's platform. So if you have a business partner, again, meeting people at networking events, meeting people online on LinkedIn, and you go do a joint webinar with them where they're inviting the audience. And then you're showing up, you get to educate their audience and bring them into your network.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely love that. And so, this is our driving force. This is how we do our business. This is how we make a living, is doing these webinars. And what's fantastic is by aligning ourselves with, like, here at the Temple Small Business Development Center or other agencies. So again, think about, where are your soulmates hanging out? How can you align with an agency or an organization? Where are your peeps hanging out, where they can bring in 15? We love hanging out with you guys here today. It's what we're passionate about. Think about, Donald, Scott, Adam, everybody, Deanna, Dee Dee. Think about, where are your soulmates hanging out? How can you align with one agency? Bring your expertise, your passion, your energy, the value that you deliver, and get those folks in the room. And then how can you convert that into, trusting relationships here? Donald says, pre-pandemic, we had full-time jobs and we were doing 5 to 10 web and conference-based presentations a year. Now we're too small to do trade shows and reliant upon digital marketing and YouTube. Rock on, team. And I'll tell you, like, man, Wesleyan, I'm down here in my basement all day, every day. This is what I do. This is my jam. And, this is how I try to spread. So again, guys, think about those groups, those peeps, those organizations, those agencies, on where can they bring in those soulmates? How can we get 100 soulmates out there by connecting?
Ooh, look what Scott said. So you're saying, instead of telling a client who you are and what you do, identify their problem or need and tell them that you are the answer to their problem or need. Mic drop.
I'm dropping it. I'm dropping the mic, Scott.
Oh, Scott,
Dude,
you got it.
That
is awesome.
And
let me help you, because you said problem or need. So this is a slight little commercial break, and I'm going to tell you guys the difference between problem and pain. This is one thing that I love to talk about.
Regina heard this yesterday.
Yes, Regina, a few of you guys heard it, but you can't hear it enough, because the more times you hear it, the more it's going to resonate.
That's right.
Pain is, my wrist is broken. It hurts. Let me get a brace and I'll go back to working. It hurts. It's annoying, right? But what is a problem? A problem is, my wrist is broken. I go to the doctor. The doctor says, you can't work for 4 weeks. You need to rest it. So I work for a small company. Since I work for a small company, there's no short-term disability. That means I'm not going to get paid for the 1 month I can't work, because I need my hands to do my job. So I'm not working. I'm not getting paid. So I can't pay my rent. If I don't pay my rent, I'm going to get evicted. And if I get evicted, I don't have a place to live. That is a problem. So a lot of times we're selling to a pain, but we need to help people understand the problem of not fixing the pain, right? So maybe you don't have to go that far down to, oh my gosh, you don't have anywhere to live based on your wrist. You have to paint that story for people. But think about, if that problem that your client, if they don't solve it, what will happen? What is the impact of that not being solved? And so you are 100% right, Scott. Speak to people in problem-based. Introduce yourself to them based on the problems you solve, not what you do. Nobody cares about what you do. What are the problems you solve?
That's right. Yeah, man. Moment of silence right there, right, Regina? I hear that story frequently, and I couldn't hear it enough. So Donald, if that, you're converting hazardous material, that's a problem. Look at the problem that you solve, or like with a vegan situation, LED lighting, everything that you guys do, all the problems that you solve, how you're just crushing it on a daily basis, spreading all sorts of awesomeness out there. Just how do we pull that person into your story, and how do we fix it? So, a lot of, these are ones that we know: Chamber of Commerce, masterminds, cohorts, webinars. We just talked about courses. You mentioned like that B&I group, where you bring those leads, memberships, SBDCs, so focus on where can you belong to groups that you solve that problem and just really resonate. We'll jump ahead, because I know we're running out of time here, right? Man, our time flies by together, Wesley, and I don't know how we do it. So, all right, we want to shine a bright light on your soulmate. Shine a bright light, be dedicated and committed to that. Wesley, do you want to talk real quick before we wind down about your podcast, like, how that's been a powerful tool for you for networking?
Yeah. So again, we're thinking about all the different ways we can build our network and we can grow. So you can start a podcast. Your podcast doesn't have to be interviewing people. If you don't want it to be, it can be a solo podcast on thought leadership, right? So you just build your thought leadership. But what I do on my podcast is I interview people that may be potential clients, that are partners of mine, and we just talk about something very specific. Remember, I'm a niche person, and so we're talking about being better sales leaders. That's all we talk about. And so I think I'm up to like 80 episodes now. And we're still going, because everybody's story is different. Everybody's story of how they got into leadership and their struggles are different. So Scott, you dropped in that in your business, the time is an essence. If the problem is not solved by your company, it will be an issue for them. What is the issue? You need to put a little salt in the wound. Like, let them know if you don't do this in 24 hours, this is what's going to happen. Like, don't be too soft with it when you're talking to somebody who would be your ideal soulmate. Because if you say that to somebody and it offends them, that's not your soulmate. If you say it to somebody and it resonates, that's the person.
Man, I love that. So Scott, then you come flying in with your cape and you say, hey, Scott is here to save the day. We can get that problem resolved and as quickly as possible for you. So guys, we're going to wind down because we're coming into time. And I know we have a hard stop at the bottom of the hour. So, going on live. Okay. So Donald, maybe that would resonate with you. I'm telling you firsthand, hands down, I've made a lot of horrific, awful, bad business decisions in my 30 plus year career, too many to count. One of the most advantageous decisions going on LinkedIn Live. I do 2 LinkedIn Lives a week. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a great growth tool. So where your soulmate, where your ideal buyer is hanging out, if that's something to think about, boy, Wesleyan does her podcast. I do LinkedIn Lives. These are, Wesleyan, are you in here? There you are. You're in the top left corner there. These are all my peeps that I've interviewed over the, there you are. That's my favorite picture of you right there. God, I love that picture. So, all right, let's wind down on this. This is how Wesleyan and I open up the door here to Temple. I dropped a note to the director at Temple University. I had done a LinkedIn Live with somebody from Columbia in Manhattan, the SBDC in Upper West Side. And so I dropped a note to more of the director of Temple and said, hey, would you want to join me for an interview to talk about all the amazing work that you're doing at the SBDC? Man, Moore and I totally hit it off. We became close friends. And boy, I'm telling you guys, if you're not involved, if you're in Philadelphia area, you want to get involved with the Temple University Small Business Development Center. Their services are completely free, confidential. They're here for you. If you're an entrepreneur and you feel like you're alone, you are not. There are all sorts of services for you. So we did this amazing, just fantastic interview with Maura. I got here, join us for a powerhouse conversation. And so again, this is what's opened up the door for us. And you know what? I'm going to wind down. Let's close out on this, Wesleyan. So guys, as you go out there, we're going to stick around for a couple more minutes. I just want to leave a couple minutes for questions. Hunt relationships, right? Get out there and hunt relationships. This is a dear friend of ours came up with this hashtag, hunt relationships. The more you make it about the other person, the more success I feel that you're going to find. Wesleyan, how about some words of wisdom to close us out today?
Yes, focus on providing value. If you don't think about the fact that the person in front of me has a dollar sign on their head and you think about them as a human being, it's going to help you network and sell so much more efficiently. So when you meet somebody, go in with the mindset, how can I serve you? And you can even say that, what can I do to impact you or make your life better or serve you? And it can be something so small. I met somebody here on one of these SBDC webinars and we met afterwards. I gave him some great tips on LinkedIn and he sent me this delightful gift basket all the way from Pennsylvania. And I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. So focus on serving before selling. How can I serve? And if you think about that, whether you're networking, whether you're on social media, whether you're selling, no matter what you're doing, focus on serving.
I love that. And you sent that picture of that gift box. You text that over to me and it just warmed my heart because I know how passionate, how dedicated you are to helping your clients. And it's such an honor for me to partner with you. And again, you and I connected through LinkedIn. That's our network where we hang out. And so guys, we're going to wrap up. If you have any questions, boy, please drop that in the chat box. I've dropped our LinkedIn profiles in there again. We would love to connect with you guys, learn more about you, your business. If you go on my website on b2btail.com, you right on the top of the website, free website audit. So if you guys are out there and you're like, hey, gee, I wonder how my no strings attached, not selling anything, doesn't cost you a penny. You just put your website in there and it's going to spit back and you're going to get a website audit, just a free service that we provide. connect with Wesleyan on LinkedIn. She would love to hear, but she loves those gift baskets, man. So if you guys want to have a chat with Wesleyan, connect with Wesleyan. And we're going to stick around for a couple more minutes. And Taya, if you want to join us, and last thing, if I think I said it, connect with your SBDC wherever you guys are coming to us from. There's an SBDC near you. So I want to give a shout out to Regina and Donald. Let's see. Yeah, Donald was fantastic. Trisha, Teresa, Scott, thank you for sharing. Monique, Mary Ellen, Jeremy, Jacqueline, Donald, Dee Dee, Deanna, Adam. We know how busy you guys are. We know how precious your time is, but we never take these for granted. We love working with you guys. So we wish you monster success. Taya, take us away.
Yes, thank you guys for joining us today. I will be posting a survey link in the chat box. You will also receive it with the follow-up email. So if you miss it here, you will receive it in email. I would like to thank Kurt and Wesleyan for joining us today and presenting us with this wonderful information.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Donald. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Scott. Scott dropped his LinkedIn profile. Monique, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Taya, thank you. It was great connecting with you once again. And Wesleyan, thank you, my friend. You are the best. So guys, God bless you. Have an awesome rest of your week. Keep spreading awesomeness everywhere you go. And hopefully we'll see you soon. We're coming, Wesleyan and I are back next month.
Yep. We'll see
Yes.
you then. Bye.
See you guys. Have a great day. Thank you.